Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another Minecraft video, and in this one we're going to be taking a look at how to build a redstone factory. Now this is going to be a relatively large build and it's all going to be happening above the ground, and I think you guys are going to quite like it. So we're going to get things started with a 15 by 11 area, and of course this build is going to look really quite industrial because it's a factory, okay, it's meant to look industrial. So we've got the 15 blocks across, 11 blocks back, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks up like this, and place a block up at the top. And then we're going to have red stained glass going up like that, which are going to be our windows. And of course they're red stained glass because this is a redstone factory, and I feel like that sort of fits the mood. Then we're going to go 2 blocks across like this and go right the way up to the top, just like that. And then we're going to do the red stained glass again, and we're basically going to follow that pattern all the way across the entire build. So you should have something that looks a little bit like this. Now I know it's a little bit uninspiring at this point in time, it's not the prettiest build in the world, but number one, it's a factory, they're never particularly good looking, but more importantly, number two, we are going to be adding some extra bits and pieces to this thing to make it look just a little bit better. But anyway, it is now time to head inside and we're going to start work on the floor, and as you can see, I've already chucked in a few blocks and we are using stone slabs. Once again, it's a fairly industrial block choice, it's not going to be the prettiest thing in the world, but it definitely does the job, and it definitely suits the industrial factory theme. It is now time for a few of the finer details. So the first thing we've got to do is chuck in the entrance to this place, and the way we're going to do that is just by removing all of these blocks right here, placing in our iron door up at the front, and then a button right there to get in. So that's very nice and simple. And now what we're going to do is start work on our company sign, because of course this is a factory. We need to have some form of company signature on the front of this thing, because otherwise it's just going to look like a big industrial build. So you want to place stone slabs going up like this, and we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks up like that, and we want to carry this line of blocks all the way across our entire build, and do the same thing up at the top as well. Here comes the very important part. You now want to create a company logo. Now I'm going to be going for the MJ logo just because of course that matches my YouTube channel and it looks pretty cool, but you can do whatever you really fancy. You could do your initials or perhaps your Minecraft name, but I'm going to chuck in the M and then the J that goes right the way across like this, and of course I am building this out of redstone lamps because we're actually going to make it light up. So there is the MJ logo, and then behind it we're going to place in a bunch of redstone clay. So you can clear out all of these blocks right here, and we're going to chuck in the redstone clay behind it, and just make sure that you don't place any blocks behind the redstone lamps because then you won't be able to power them using redstone. You just want to go around like this and up like that. In any areas where you have this sort of thing going on, you want to take out the stained glass and you want to replace it with the stone slabs. You want to do the same thing over here as well, and the same thing on this one here. And now we're going to place the roof on top of our factory. Once again, we're going to be using the stone slabs because it's industrial and it suits the look of the build. Now that you have something that looks a little bit like this, it's time to start hooking up your redstone lamps. And of course, depending on what your logo is, depends on how you're going to have to do all of the redstone, but I'm going to try my best to explain to you how I'm going to do it for my logo here. So the way that I'm going to do it is for the J, we're going to have blocks down like this. We're going to have redstone dust in all of these different areas. And of course, when we power this redstone right here, and we power this redstone right here using repeaters, that will power all of the bottom areas of the J just like that. So all of these bottom lines have now been fully completed. So now what we need to do is place some redstone dust right there, and a block up like this, and a block up like this, and then another repeater right there with redstone dust. And as you can see, the entire J has been completely powered. Now for the M, it's a fairly similar story. We're going to need a block there, we're going to need redstone dust right there. That's going to power all 3 of these redstone lamps. To power this one, we're going to need redstone dust here, so we might as well place a block right there. We're going to need redstone dust right there to power all of these lamps. We need a block there, and then we need to do the same thing on the other side. So it's block there, redstone dust, and then repeaters running into both of these blocks with redstone, and then we can test that out using our lever, and as you can see, everything is now fully switched on. But of course, we're not going to have it just on because that looks a little bit rubbish. We're actually going to add a flickering sign because, let's face it, all factory signs flicker. They're never working properly. To do the flicker, all you have to do is go out the back here and place a couple blocks going across like this. Then you want to place 2 hoppers running back and forth into one another, which are going to be trading an item between them, which will create a toggleable redstone clock. And we're currently going to turn off that clock because of course we're in the process of building this thing. Then you want to place a block right here with a comparator running out from that hopper there. That's going to be running off into a block up like this. A dropper right here with a hopper running back into it. Running out from that hopper, you want to place a block with a comparator running out into this block right here. Then you want to place 3 bits of redstone dust, a repeater, and a repeater set to 3 ticks running into a block with redstone dust on top, and a redstone torch on the side of it. Now inside this dropper right here, what you want to do is place any old random item, a slightly different random item, and then a non-stackable item. And that means that whenever this item travels through, this non-stackable item travels through into the hopper, it will give a redstone output through the circuit, and all of our redstone lamps will turn off, which means that occasionally our lamps will flicker off. Now all you have to do is connect up this redstone up into the other line, and you've got yourself a working flickering sign. If we just flick this lever right here, you can see it's fully functional. Finally, we're going to start work on the builds on the inside of the factory. So the first thing we're going to create are the furnaces, and the way that we want to do that is by going 2 blocks up like this and placing a line of iron blocks going right the way from one side of the factory over to the other side of the factory. Then you want to go to the back side of the iron blocks. You want to go 1 block in, and you want to take out this block right here and place a sticky piston facing upwards, and then you want to place 2 more like this, skip a block, and then do another 3 sticky pistons facing upwards with netherrack on top. Then behind those netherrack, you just want to place dispensers facing across like this, and inside those dispensers, you want to place your flint and steels. Then you want to place a block right here, go up to the top and place redstone dust on top of all of these dispensers, going right the way across like that, and that redstone line is going to run all the way across here and into that block right there. Then up at the top here, you just want to place blocks going around like this, and these are going to be redstone glass, and that needs to go around like that, then round like this, cover these blocks right here, and then once again more blocks like this with water up at the top here, which is going to be what is going to be smelted. If we place in our lever, we now have a way to turn on all of our dispensers and chuck out all the fire, but of course if we flick this lever again, the fire keeps burning, which isn't particularly good if you want a toggleable furnace system, because once you've turned it on, it will never turn off again. So what we're going to do now is do the circuit that's going to manage that, and all you have to do is pop down to the bottom here and clear out a handful of blocks, chuck in some blocks underneath the sticky pistons, and then some more blocks running across like this, just like that. We're going to need repeaters running into all of these blocks right here with redstone dust going across the back there. Then beneath this block, you just want to place a block down at the bottom here with redstone dust on top of that one, a block right there to stop our 2 bits of redstone canoodling. Then you want to place a redstone torch right there, a dropper, a hopper running across, an item inside that hopper. Then you want to place a block, a comparator, a block, and then a repeater running into this redstone circuit. Now what that means is if we flick this lever, you can see that that has dispensed the flint and steel, and when we flick the lever again, all of our pistons extend, pushing out the fire. The next thing we're going to be working on in our redstone factory is the Anvil switching circuit. Now this sort of thing is incredibly useful for your own survival world, but I think it fits really quite nicely inside this factory right here. So the way we're going to build it is by placing a regular piston right here with a block next to it and a redstone torch on top, and as you can see, that piston will extend. Then you want to place a repeater right here, a block, and then a button. And that is the entire circuit done. When we hit that button, you can see our piston retracts, then re-extends very, very briefly, and that's going to be perfect for chucking out all of our anvils. So you want to place a couple blocks going up like this, and then just a bunch more blocks up there, however you really want to. And then on top of this piston, you just want to place in all of your anvils going right the way up to the roof. And when we hit this button, you can see it drops the next anvil down, and when that anvil runs out, then we can just hit the button once again, and it will chuck in another anvil. Next up on the to-do list is to create a working redstone conveyor belt. Now the way that we're going to do this is by placing a regular piston in like this, then a regular piston facing upwards right there. Then on this side we want another regular piston facing across just like that, with a sticky piston facing upwards down at the bottom there. Then we can remove all of these blocks to just make way for all of the redstone, just get rid of all of your flooring right here, and of course you are going to have to replace that later on. And then you want to take out these blocks out the back here as well. You want to place a repeater running into that sticky piston, redstone dust running up like that, with a repeater set to 3 ticks running into a block out the back there. Then you want to run redstone going right the way across here, a repeater running into this block here with redstone dust right there, and redstone dust going up like this and into this piston here with a repeater set to 2 ticks. Then you want to clear out a few extra blocks, and we're going to create our timing circuits. You want to go 4 blocks back from this point here, and you want to place 2 hoppers running back and forth into one another. Then you're going to take a comparator output from that hopper. You want to place a sticky piston facing upwards with a block on top, and then place a repeater running into this redstone line. Then inside this hopper, we're going to chuck in any old item, and you should see that all of our pistons will start firing, and they're all firing in motion, which is good. They're all in sync. That seems to be working nicely. So for the minute, we're going to turn off this little hopper clock and make sure that it's not firing anymore, and we're going to place in all of the blocks. Now, the way that you have to place them is in a very specific order. So you're going to need blocks going across the bottom right here, and then blocks going across the top just like that. So you should have one line of blocks there, a gap at the bottom, and then one line of blocks right here with a gap up at the top, and that should be everything completed. So if we flick this lever, you can see that our piston feed tape is working, and we've got ourselves a working conveyor belt, so we can chuck in all of these blocks, and it looks like a fully functional system. As far as the decoration is concerned, I've just chucked in a few iron blocks, which I think looks pretty cool and also fairly industrial, but now it is time to move on to the item dropping system. So the way that we're going to do that is by placing a block down at the bottom here with a button on its face. Then we want to place a redstone torch, a block, another redstone torch, a block, and then some redstone dust on top like that, with a dropper facing in this direction right here. Then you want to run red stained glass going all the way across like this, right the way up to that block, and place another redstone glass down at the bottom there with a sign like this, and then you want to chuck in red stained glass going right the way across like this, and also do the same thing on the other side as well, just red stained glass going right the way across there. And then inside that, you just want to place a water stream, which will be taking the items from this dropper over into our conveyor belt system. So you want to take out this block right here and place a little bit more red stained glass, which I think looks really quite cool and also very factory-like. For our final little redstone circuit, we are going to create a block crushing system. So we're going to place a block down at the bottom here with a lever on its face, then a redstone torch, a block, and then another redstone torch up there with a block on top like that. Then we want to place sticky pistons facing downwards all the way across like this. Just create a 2x3 area with blocks on all of their faces. And then down at the bottom here, we're going to have all of our anvils just like that. Then on top of this block right here, we're going to place some redstone, and we're going to carry that line of redstone out on top of all of our pistons just like this, and that will give us a full crushing circuit. So you can see our anvils are where we're going to place our items, and then when we flick this lever, the crushers will come down, and that will destroy or flatten anything that is on top. Once again, a pretty useful tool to have on the inside of a factory. So let's do a real quick roundup of everything that we've built in today's video. The first thing we've done is we've created the factory itself. We've built this thing from scratch. It's looking pretty cool, very industrial, not the prettiest build in the world, but it's a factory, so it's not meant to be the prettiest build in the world. And then up at the top, we have got our semi-working redstone sign. It's meant to flicker, it's meant to look just a tiny bit broken, and as you can see, that is working absolutely wonderfully and looks really quite cool. And then if we pop down inside the factory itself, we have got a ton of different redstone contraptions. The first thing we've got is we've got our furnaces, and if you take a look up at the top here, you can see the steam actually comes off from the water, which I think looks pretty cool. And if we flick it off again, you can see all of our fire is taken out by those blocks. Then of course we've got our anvil dispenser circuit, which is working wonderfully. Up here we've got our item dropping circuit, we've got our crushing system, and we've got our functional block conveyor belt. Now all of these come together to create a really cool build. I personally absolutely love this place, and I believe that this redstone factory is completely finished. But unfortunately, ladies and gents, that is all I've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.